Lobster fishing is a job that requires technique and patience. Typically, fishermen use lobster traps called lats, or cages, to harvest. These cages are made of wire or strong material, just large enough for the lobsters to enter but not escape. The cages are placed on the seafloor in areas where lobsters live, usually in areas with many crevices on the seafloor or near coral reefs. To attract lobsters, fishermen often put bait in the cage, which can be fresh fish or other marine animals. Lobsters are often lured into the cage by the smell of the bait and become trapped inside. After a while, fishermen will dive or use a boat to retrieve the cage to collect the lobsters. Some fishermen may also use nets to catch lobsters, but this method is less common. Lobster fishing requires delicacy, because lobsters are very sensitive and can run away if they detect the presence of humans. In addition to using traps, some fishermen also apply the method of catching lobsters by diving deep underwater to search for and catch lobsters directly. This method requires divers to have good diving skills and the ability to withstand deep water pressure, and must have protective equipment such as masks, snorkels, and air tanks to maintain safety throughout the process. When detecting lobsters, fishermen will use their bare hands or special tools such as pliers and tongs to catch them. Lobster fishing season usually falls in the warm water months, from about May to October, when lobsters are in the spawning season and often seek out shallow areas with many rocks and caves to hide. However, lobster fishing also needs to comply with regulations on protecting aquatic resources, because if caught excessively or during the ban period, it will negatively affect the recovery and development of lobsters. Therefore, many coastal areas have controlled the number of lobsters exploited and applied regulations such as only allowing the fishing of lobsters of sufficient size or requiring fishermen to release baby lobsters, in order to maintain the sustainability of this fishing industry. In addition to complying with regulations on protecting resources, another important factor in lobster fishing is maintaining sustainable fishing methods. Fishermen are now increasingly focusing on applying techniques that are less harmful to the marine environment, such as using properly designed traps, which help minimize negative impacts on the seabed ecosystem. Some lobster farming areas are also experimenting with lobster farming models in semi-natural environments or cage systems, to protect lobsters from resource depletion and improve the quality of their breeds. In addition, lobsters are also a product of high economic value, so the sustainable development of this industry not only brings benefits in terms of protecting natural resources but also helps improve the lives of fishermen. However, to achieve sustainable development, the lobster fishing industry requires close cooperation between authorities, fishing communities and environmental protection organizations. This includes activities to raise awareness of the importance of protecting marine resources. While promoting the application of advanced technologies in fisheries management. In short, lobster fishing is not only a traditional occupation but also an important part of the fisheries economy of many countries, especially in coastal areas. For lobster fishing to develop long-term and sustainably, strict management is needed, combined with protection of the marine environment and the application of scientific and reasonable exploitation methods to continue to maintain and develop the lobster fishing industry sustainably. Raising awareness and educating the fishing community about environmental protection measures is extremely important. Local authorities and marine conservation organizations can organize training courses and workshops on safe and effective fishing methods. and disseminate legal regulations on the protection of lobsters and other marine life. Fishermen need to be guided on the use of fishing methods that have less impact on the ecosystem, such as limiting the use of tools that damage the seabed and avoiding water pollution. In addition, research and application of new technologies in the fisheries industry also play an important role in protecting lobster resources. Scientific research can help identify suitable farming and fishing areas, thereby helping to reduce pressure on natural lobster fishing areas. For example, the application of GPS technology and modern monitoring systems can help fishermen identify areas with high lobster densities or areas that have been overexploited, thereby avoiding overexploitation. In addition, the development of lobster farming in cages or aquaculture areas is also a sustainable solution. Raising lobsters in a controlled environment helps reduce pressure on wild lobster populations, while providing products to the market without harming marine resources. This farming model, although requiring high initial investment and strict technical management, can bring long-term profits and protect marine ecosystems. In the future, if lobster fishing is well managed and sustainable methods are applied, this industry will not only continue to grow but also contribute to the protection and conservation of the marine environment. It is important that every fisherman, community and authority is aware of their responsibility in maintaining and developing the lobster fishery, while protecting this valuable resource for future generations. In addition to environmental protection and sustainable development measures, an indispensable factor in the lobster fishery is the development of appropriate support policies for fishermen. Governments and fisheries organizations can provide financial support programs, technical training, as well as encourage the application of modern technology in the fisheries industry. Some localities have implemented subsidy programs for fishermen when purchasing fishing equipment, or provided preferential loans so that fishermen can invest in sustainable fishing methods, such as lobster cages or fishing monitoring and surveillance technology. The establishment of marine protected areas, MPAs, also plays an important role in protecting lobster resources and other marine species. These areas help restore and protect natural lobster populations, while providing an ideal breeding and development environment for them. When protected, lobsters can thrive, regenerate and maintain long-term resources for the fisheries industry. In addition, strict control and long-term strategies in lobster fishing management also help prevent illegal exploitation, which seriously affects resources. Authorities need to strengthen inspection, supervision and strict handling of violations, including catching small lobsters, illegal fishing during the breeding season or in prohibited fishing areas. Along with that, the application of information technology in management also helps improve the effectiveness of monitoring, from monitoring fishing vessels to checking catches and handling violations. Another important factor in developing the lobster industry is maintaining cooperative relationships between fishermen, local communities and international organizations. This industry can be supported through the establishment of fishing cooperatives, where fishermen can share experiences, learn new techniques and cooperate to protect marine resources more effectively. International organizations, especially marine environmental protection organizations, can provide knowledge, financial and technological support to improve working conditions and sustainable fishing. Ultimately, when all factors from environmental protection, resource management, technology development to community cooperation are implemented synchronously, the lobster fishing industry will not only become a stable source of income for fishermen but also contribute to protecting the marine environment and sustainable development for both the community and the national economy. Lobster, a precious product of the sea, will continue to be a symbol of the harmonious combination of human and natural benefits, bringing lasting value to both current and future generations to continue to sustain the sustainable development of the lobster fishing industry. Another important factor is the development of fishing models combined with ecotourism. Areas with prominent lobster fishing can take advantage of tourism potential to generate additional income for the community. Ecotourism not only helps increase profits for fishermen but also raises tourists' awareness of the importance of protecting marine resources. Tours can include activities such as visiting the sea, experiencing lobster diving, or learning about conservation and sustainable fishing processes. This is a way to connect the seafood industry with tourism, helping to protect marine resources while bringing economic value. Besides tourism, processed lobster products are also a field with great potential for development. Fresh lobsters and processed products such as steamed lobsters, lobsters in sauce, or dried lobsters are becoming popular items in many countries, not only domestically but also in the international market. The lobster processing industry can create added value, helping to increase income for fishermen and those working in the processing industry. However, for long-term development, the processing industry needs to comply with strict quality standards. Ensuring safe products and clear origin. A major challenge for the lobster fishing industry is the impact of climate change. Changes in temperature, sea level, as well as the invasion of alien species can affect the lobster habitat. Conducting scientific research on the impact of climate change on lobster resources is necessary to be able to come up with timely response measures. These measures could include adjusting fishing times and methods, establishing conservation areas, and increasing research and adoption of lobster varieties that are resilient to climate change conditions. Furthermore, implementing strategies for sustainable lobster development also requires international cooperation in the management and protection of marine resources. Countries with large lobster fishing industries such as Vietnam, the United States, Australia, and countries in the Caribbean region can share experiences, research, and solutions to protect aquatic resources. International agreements on marine environmental protection, such as the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, can play an important role in developing common policies to protect lobsters and other marine life. Thus, the lobster fishing industry, despite many challenges, can still develop strongly and sustainably if properly managed and with close cooperation among stakeholders. If there is a combination of resource protection, improved fishing techniques, development of lobster farming and processing models, and adaptation to climate change, lobster fishing will not only continue to be a source of livelihood for millions of fishermen but also contribute to the overall development of the economy and protect the marine ecosystem for future generations. Another important factor in maintaining the sustainable development of the lobster industry is the management and protection of lobster seed stocks. Maintaining a healthy and stable source of lobster seed is essential to ensure the long-term development of this industry. Because lobsters have a relatively slow reproduction rate, protecting natural breeding areas, such as bays, sandbanks or seabed areas with ideal conditions for lobster spawning. Is an important factor in maintaining wild lobster populations. Governments and relevant organizations need to establish breeding reserves where lobsters can reproduce without being overly affected by fishing activities. In addition, the development of lobster hatcheries is also becoming an effective solution to ensure the supply of quality lobster seed for farming areas. These hatcheries not only provide a stable source of seed but can also help reduce the pressure on wild lobster exploitation, contributing to the protection of marine resources. However, the development of hatcheries must strictly comply with regulations on hygiene and seed quality, avoiding the use of seeds of unknown origin or diseased seeds, which can affect the development of the lobster farming industry. Another challenge is maintaining biodiversity in the seas where lobster fishing occurs. Lobsters live in a complex ecosystem, with many different species, from small fish to seabed organisms. If not strictly controlled, overexploitation can unbalance this ecosystem, affect other species and cause long-term damage to the fishing industry. Therefore, developing comprehensive marine ecosystem protection strategies, from limiting overexploitation to protecting other marine species, is necessary to maintain the stability of the lobster fishing industry. In addition to direct protection measures for lobster resources, promoting research and innovation in farming technology also plays an important role. Research on optimal growth conditions for lobsters in artificial environments will help increase productivity, minimize disease risks and create a stable supply for the market. Advanced technology such as water quality monitoring systems, automatic feeding systems or disease prevention measures can help lobster farms operate more efficiently, while minimizing negative impacts on the environment. In fact, the lobster fishing industry is undergoing a strong transformation with the development of lobster farming models in semi-natural environments or cage systems. These models not only help protect natural lobster resources but also create high-quality lobster products, meeting the increasing demand of domestic and foreign markets. With advanced technology and farming methods, lobster farming can minimize the impact on the marine ecosystem, while creating products that meet export standards. With all these solutions, the lobster industry can completely develop in a sustainable and long-term direction. However, it is important that all fishing, farming and processing activities must be associated with the protection of natural resources and the improvement of the quality of life of fishermen. Governments, communities and international organizations need to work together to create a favorable environment that encourages the development of the lobster industry in an effective and sustainable manner. In the future, if the lobster industry can maintain a balance between exploitation and conservation, lobster will continue to be a valuable resource, contributing to economic development, environmental protection and improving the quality of life of coastal people to continue to ensure the sustainable development of the lobster industry.